So, the second tool will go through another journey, and we'll start off with a wonderful idea that was a winner here last year, done by Gray in India. And this is an idea which approaches an interesting challenge. What happens when you have a huge population in rural villages which has a problem that's due to its way of life, because of lack of funds, of lack of diet, or certain ingredients they cannot eat or cannot get. What happens if it creates a certain problem that we need to address? And many times you need to do it while not interfering with their life. They have a specific way of life. And one of the great ways of doing it is actually connecting with a cultural behavior that they're already doing. Let's see this idea. We call it they call it the life-saving dot.
Millions of women across rural India suffer from life-threatening diseases. Most of these cases are linked to an iodine deficiency. Supplements exist, but women couldn't afford any. So how do you help them? Almost every Indian woman wears a bindi. Introducing the life-saving dot, Jeevan Bindi. An idea that transformed bindis into iodine patches. Women require a daily dosage of iodine. During the day, these bindis dispense that amount to the wearer. These life-saving dots were distributed through medical camps across rural India. In a nation of 500 million women, bindis were no longer just a symbol of beauty. They now spelled the difference between life and death. The life-saving dot, Jeevan Bindi.
What a wonderful idea. Brings real value to people and addresses the problem. They started doing it in more and more villages across India. Like I said, it was a big winner last year in Cannes. And we're looking for a connection between three ideas. So the next idea, let's go to the US and let's talk about children with asthma. Usually when you talk about children, it adds a little bit more tension to the mix. You have to persuade them to do stuff, and children with asthma, you need to track their condition all the time, and you need to exercise their lungs on a daily basis. You have to cut the amount of medication they need. So how do you get them to use these boring, annoying, uninteresting devices in order to be able to do all that, to track their breathing, to exercise their lungs? I mean, I can't get my 12-year son to close the television without a fight. How would I make them use this boring, annoying thing for their own good? This is a wonderful idea by RGA from the US.
It turns out that when asthma patients track their conditions and exercise their lungs, it cuts their need for medication by up to 86%. But the devices patients are given today are boring, not fun to use, don't track data, or offer lung training. They're just about the last thing a kid would be interested in. That's where Alveo comes in. Alveo is a breathing trainer that acts like a game controller. But instead of using your thumbs, you control the game with your breath. Alveo tracks your progress while you play, and because it's fun, kids will keep playing while they get healthier. We help to design Alveo's games around the ways people need to improve their lung health. Inhaling and exhaling moves the character up and down to hit targets. Other games measure how hard you can exhale, a very important indicator of the seriousness of your condition. Parents can see how their kids are doing and get notified if their condition takes a turn for the worse or is improving. Now, Alveo is partnering with some of the top hospitals in the US to make their games even more useful. So we can help even more kids with asthma go out and play, and help their parents breathe easier.
Nice idea. Looking for a connection. Third idea does not come from Cannes. This is not the Cannes beach. This is Brazil. Brazil that has a very rich beach culture. The youth spend a lot of time on the beaches. This is an idea for Sol de Janeiro, which is a sunblock brand. It won a few awards in Cannes 2 years ago. And they focus on youth, on the younger target audience. And the thing is that the youth, when they're at the beach, are very busy with their tan, not so busy with thinking about skin cancer. They don't look for signs of skin cancer. They will never consider going to the doctor to check their skin. So how do you make them more aware of the dangers of skin cancer? How do you get them to be engaged? How do you deliver your message? How do you get their attention in today's very rich communications reality? This is how they did it in a very successful way, by Ogilvy Brazil.
Tatuadores de todo o Brasil estão sendo treinados por médicos para identificar sinais indicativos de câncer de pele.
Câncer de pele, no caso do melanoma, ele tem várias cores, vários tons. What a wonderful idea, what a simple idea. It might be a little complicated to implement, but the idea itself, in its essence, is simple, yet provides value and generates an interesting story, not just an interesting solution. I think that we're all about storytelling and story sharing. This is a great way to do it, even in health. So, we have 3 ideas, different countries, different categories. Please try to help me show Jonathan that I explained it better than him, and try to identify what the actual physical action was done in order to achieve these wonderful ideas. I agree completely. And doing what? You're almost there. And doing what? Are adding something that the resource, adding something new to something that the resource already does. Or in our words, we call it new tasking. And I think you almost explained it as well as I could. The idea is to assign a new task to an existing resource in a system, or to a resource which is in contact with the system, because it means that it's in the vicinity of the system and it can impact it. So if it impacts the system and you give it a new task, it still has an impact on what's happening. And the idea is to assign a new task which is unexpected, which is interesting, which helps us demonstrate the message we want to deliver to the target audience, or helps us achieve a solution to the task at hand. And the idea is that Jonathan spoke before about structural fixedness, where the mind has an automatic thinking mode. Well, here we will break functional fixedness, because again, when our mind sees something it is already familiar with, it automatically assigns it with the function it knows. So the bottle is for putting liquids inside so we can drink. But if you think about it and you try to break the automatic thinking, you will break the functional fixedness and you will come up with more interesting creative uses for existing resources. So we will break the functional fixedness and we will come up with innovative, interesting ways to deliver our message. So the process, when you think about it, is you look at your content world from the task in your brief or in your challenge, and then you start thinking about how the consumers behave and what they do and what's happening in their environment, and you choose your system and its vicinity. We call it a restricted universe. Basically, that's when you will start operating. That's when you start working. These are the limits of your mind, and you will look at the system and vicinity, look for resources, and then assign them with a new task, thereby delivering your solution. Yeah. Yeah.
Just I see people taking photos. If you wait until the end, we'll give you an email where if you email us, you'll get the presentation, the deck, so you don't need to picture everything. Okay?
They were taking pictures of me on a time. That's what I was thinking. And maybe I got it wrong. To illustrate what I just said, for instance, with the DMDs, the system was, of course, the patient. The resource which comes in contact with the system is the DMD, and now it has a new task. It's not there for religious purposes. It also helps supply iodine. And when you come to the alveo, there are tons of breathing trainers before alveo, but it was the first breathing trainer that turned the child's breath, its exhale and its inhalation, into something new. It helped control the game. And of course, the third idea shows us that it doesn't have to be things, it can also be people, which are resources, and it uses the tattoo artists and gives them a new task where they will also help identify signs of skin cancer. Is it clear? Any questions? Make sense? Great. Just a few tips which we find very interesting when it comes to mutasing. First of all, if you've noticed, all of these cases happen when we are attaching ourselves to people who are already doing something. They are already having a tattoo. They are already tracking their breath. They are already wearing the bindi. So sometimes it's a great opportunity to look what people are already doing, and then look at their surrounding, identify systems, identify resources, and then use them in an unexpected way. And another thing you can do is steal a task. Look at your system, look at all the resources. Maybe there is another resource that has a task you can steal and take it for your own resource, making one of the resources redundant. And basically you will combine two resources into one. For example, in a perfect world, the bindis would supply iodine, so that iodine supplements would be redundant. You wouldn't need them anymore because everybody could wear the bindi and get their sufficient amount of iodine for the rest of their lives. So this is the new tasking tool. And what we would like to do now is show you how practical and easy to use